Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I thought today we do something a little different, and since everybody is so interested in the Chad and Lori Vallow Daybell case, that I would go ahead and do a mock opening statement on behalf of Chad Daybell. And you might say, Theolyn, why in the world would you be representing Chad Daybell? Well, against my beliefs and my opinions, I think that it's best to know what possible tactics and tricks the other side, the defense, may bring out in support of Chad. So I thought, why not, using the information that we heard the defense question, that they asked during the preliminary hearing of the witnesses, we could go ahead and fashion an opening statement that might fit in with what theory they're going with. So without further ado, let's get into it. Good morning and thank you, members of the jury. You'll hear many things about my client, Chad Daybell. Chad isn't a perfect man. He wasn't a perfect husband. However, he is not and has never been a killer or a man who would conspire to place bodies on his property. Never. Never ever. You'll hear many conspiracy theories from the state about my client, but what you won't see or hear is proof that Chad knew or agreed to have the bodies of Lori Vallow's children placed on his property. What the state will show is evidence of who did. That man is Alex Cox, the brother of Lori Vallow. There's simply no proof that Chad knew about the bodies later discovered on his property until we all did. Until we all did. In fact, Chad did not even have the opportunity to harm Tylee Ryan or Joshua Vallow, or even Charles Vallow. He simply was not there. But Alex Cox was. Even Lori Vallow was. Why was Alex Cox on Chad's property? The state will show that Lori Vallow got rid of her autistic son's service dog. Perhaps Alex Cox asked Chad to bury that said service dog on his property, as Lori's apartment had no place to place the animal. How would you know? They're running on speculation. Chad was not aware of what Alex Cox was really doing on his property, or when. And when the state shows you their evidence, there can be no reasonable doubt if you convict Chad. There can be no reasonable doubt. And if you have a reasonable doubt, then Chad must be found not guilty. Yes, Chad lied to his wife in a text, but that doesn't place him with Alex Cox doing whatever Alex Cox was doing on Chad Daybell's property. The state will concoct some fantasy about some loosely knit, tied group of friends being a cult and Chad as the leader. Look at my client, folks. Look over at him. Does this man look like a leader to you? Sorry, Chad, but I mean, does he? Does this man look like a cult leader to you? So let's think about this. Who wanted Charles Vallow dead? Lori. Who wanted Tylee Ryan dead? Lori. Who wanted Joshua Vallow dead? Lori. Who fixed it and who would know about the carnage and all these dead bodies? Alex. Alex fixed it. Alex did it. And who was Lori's protector? Alex. And who did her dirty work? Alex. Who shot at Brandon Boudreaux allegedly? Alex. Who maybe even shot at Tammy Daybell, Chad's wife? Alex. Who did they do this on behalf of? Lori, not Chad. Lori, her brother Alex Cox, niece Melanie Pulowski, friend Melanie Gibb, and all the significant associated others. Okay? They're all associated to Lori, not Chad. Lori is the one. Lori is the nexus of all this. Lori and Alex, they're the common denominators in all these deaths. That's what the state is going to show you if you forget about what their conspiracy theories are. Heck, if you think about it, even Alex Cox attacked and was jailed for harming Lori's third husband. This is nothing new under the sun. So my client, Chad Daybell, was just another schmuck caught in her web. That's what it is. If the state had evidence that Chad had harmed the children, we'd be here talking about murder charges. But the state knows Alex Cox did it. And they have to concoct conspiracy theories in order to tie in my client. You'll see that their evidence cuts both ways. You'll see that. Alex's weird fixation with his sister is unimaginable. He follows her to Rexburg. He moves with her. He quits his job in order to be with her. He's like a satellite to her planet. He's her protector. You'll hear that on the body cam. She says that herself. He's her protector. And allegedly her other brother was trying to kill her, if you can believe anything out of these people's mouths. So let's go through this again. When Joe Ryan died, that's Lori's third husband, and was maybe even murdered, where was Chad? Chad was with his wife, Tammy Daybell, and did not even know Lori Vallow. Okay? When Charles, Lori's fourth husband, was murdered by Alex, where was Chad? He was with Tammy Daybell. When Tylee Ryan was murdered, where was Chad? Again, he was likely in bed with Tammy Daybell. When Joshua Vallow was murdered, where was Chad? Do you know what I'm going to say? He was likely in bed with Tammy Daybell. Okay? When Tammy Daybell died of natural causes, you will see, where was Chad? He was in bed with Tammy Daybell. So let's look at Chad's actions. Let's look at it. He's a family man. He's raised 5 children to adulthood, healthy and happy. He was married to Tammy Daybell for decades. He was a respected member of society. He had no arrests. There was no history of abuse. And there was no problems. And now we have Lori and her kin, and there are all kinds of problems. The Mormon religion, the LDS, is not on trial here. I'm not going to try the LDS. I'm not going to blame the Mormon religion. Chad's religion is not on trial. Every religion has its odd beliefs, okay? The Hindus, they believe in reincarnation. The Christian religion believes that the Virgin Mary was impregnated immaculately. Jesus healed people that had demonic possession and sent the demons into pigs, and the pigs ran off a hill, and so on and so forth. These friends of Chad's, and Chad himself, had some beliefs that may not be the norm, okay? But their studies were more akin to a Bible study group, okay, than anything else. Do regular Christians believe that you can talk to angels? Yes. Do they believe that they can receive prophecies and visions? Yes, many do. What Chad believed was really not that much outside of the norm. Now, what conspiracy theories that these others have concocted? Yeah, that's outside of the norm. And you'll hear from Melanie Gibb. She's one of these friends. And ask yourself, when she's on the stand, where her culpability is in all this. What's her culpability? She was there with Lori talking to police at the police station surrounding the drama with Charles Vallow. You'll see it yourself on the body cams. The state will put this evidence in. She was there when Chad met Lori. She's there everywhere. She didn't get along with Tylee Ryan. She was there on the day that the state says JJ went missing. Heck, she visited the property next to Chad's, the property outside next to Chad's, on the day before JJ went missing with Alex. She told the police that she had JJ. She did. Now she tells a story that she lied to police officers in relation to this case. And that she didn't ever have JJ. And that Chad asked her to lie. I mean, even her autistic son said JJ had been with Melanie Gibb. If Melanie Gibb was there in the apartment while JJ was allegedly being killed or duct taped or whatever happened or whatever Alex did, why didn't Melanie Gibb hear that if she's so innocent? Wasn't she also around at the time that Ty Lee Ryan went missing? Wasn't she in town? Think about these things. Also keep in mind that most of what Melanie Gibb believes that Chad thinks was all filtered through Lori Vallow. Melanie even speaks with Lori surreptitiously, a taped call. Lori talks 95% of the time and Chad talks 5% and doesn't incriminate himself. So even Melanie Gibb will testify that Chad was a quiet man and that Lori was the outgoing one. Lori was the outspoken one. And you'll hear it on the surreptitious recording that Melanie made when she called Chad and Lori. Melanie Gibb admitted that she made this call to make the police understand that she was not responsible. Responsible for what, Melanie? Responsible for what? The kids were missing at that point, but they weren't found on Chad's property yet. So keep in mind that Chad mostly sat silently through that call. It was Lori doing the talking. It was Lori in the driver's seat. And you'll hear my client, Chad, accosted by Melanie Gibb, and he tells Melanie that he never expected to be with Lori Vallow, that his wife died of natural causes, that Tammy wouldn't go to the doctor and hadn't been well for quite some time. Is that a guilty man? By November 25th, 2019, the police were doing a welfare check for Joshua Vallow on the residence of Lori Vallow, now Daybell. Chad had been married to Lori for 2 weeks at this point. And Detective Hermosillo will allege that my client said he felt like you're accusing me of something. That's the quote. He felt like you're accusing me of something. And that Chad said he didn't know Lori well. But these interactions with Detective Hermosillo were not recorded. Not at all. Not a one. Okay, so we're left to rely on the memory of Detective Hermosillo. Detective Hermosillo will tell you it is not common practice for detectives to wear the body cams. Yet he wore it for all the other interviews, but not the initial interview with Chad. We want factual statements to be recorded accurately as they are best memorialized in the form of recording for just that purpose. So we're left to rely on Detective Hermosillo's word. And this is an important statement. This isn't just some offhanded statement now. This is proving, they're trying to prove that my client lied and my client is guilty. And Detective Hermosillo asked Chad if he knew Lori, and Detective Hermosillo said under oath that Chad said, "I don't know her." However, my client said, "I don't know her as well as Alex." And now you have to make either Chad lied or it's just an explanation. Yeah, I know Lori, but I don't know her as well as Alex. Go ask Alex go ask Alex. Is he a liar or was he just misrepresented here? I mean, it's a big difference. And it's not on the body cam. So if Lori and or her brother Alex committed crimes against their family, those crimes do not inure to Chad Daybell if he marries her after the crimes. Think about that. Not to be crude and no disrespect, but had Chad buried the bodies found on his property, he would have done it professionally because he had been a gravedigger. It's as simple as that. You can tell who buried those bodies by looking at the evidence. He knows a body needs to be at least 5 or 6 feet in the ground. And the burial site number 1, and you'll hear this from the state, was only 1.1.5 feet underground. And the burial site number 2 was only 2 feet deep. Chad did not bury those bodies. Chad Daybell did not bury those bodies. And the state will show with their CAS data and their summaries of the cell phone of Alex Cox that Alex Cox's phone was on Chad Daybell's property at the time they allege that JJ and Tylee had been murdered or now being buried. This does not mean that Chad Daybell was on the property both times or that he was even aware of what was being done there. The property was a large piece of land. These people, Alex, Lori, the Melanies, they lie as easy as they breathe, and you only need to look at the body cam videos to the police to judge that for yourselves. Look at Lori. Her kids are missing. Chad gets her an attorney, okay? Lori wasn't telling her mother where her kids were. She wasn't telling her sister, Summer, where her kids were. She wasn't telling her brother, Alex, where her kids were. Per the call with Melanie Gibb, she wasn't telling Melanie Pulowski, she wasn't telling Melanie Gibb, or anyone else where her children were, for their safety, allegedly. Why do you think that she told the truth to her husband of 2 weeks? Why would she? She wouldn't even tell her own mother where her children were located. So what was Chad's complicity in this? Trusting Lori. Getting wrapped up in her web. That's what Chad's complicity is in this. So that's Chad's crime. And then you would go into, I'm talking off the record, and then you would go into arguing reasonable doubt, and you could argue that for a good strong 30 minutes in the general sense. So guys and ladies, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it gives you an idea of what possibly could be brought out and how they could frame this scenario to make it look like not only Alex did it, but maybe Lori had a part in it, and maybe the Melanies aren't being honest, and maybe they have some culpability. So they'll throw all the spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you do, please push like, please push subscribe. That way you'll be notified next time I upload a video. And also, if you'd be interested, I'll be more than happy to do a possible opening statement for the state. So without further ado, have an excellent day.